please be quiet and pay attention. They're open for all kinds of questions.
Yes, I'm Dawn, and this is Veronica. I have we were in a really bad car accident. This is our car, and I have a moderate traumatic brain injury, and Veronica has a severe. And go ahead and tell all your injuries.
So we were turning left, at a stop sign, and in a little Honda Civic, and a 4x4 truck T-boned us at 60, and I sheared my brainstem, I bruised my frontal lobe, broke both hips, 8 fractures in my pelvis, paralyzed left side, a broken left ankle. I was in a coma for 2 weeks. I had to relearn everything all over again, and in 12 and a half weeks I had 3 kinds of therapy for an hour at a time, but twice a day. So I had speech, occupational, and physical, and
She was in the hospital for 3
yeah.
months.
Oh, and I got out on my 16th birthday, so.
Before I begin, I forget my words sometimes because of my brain injury, and sometimes I forget what I'm saying in the middle of saying it, so bear with me. And we've done 33 classes and I still have notes because my memory is very, very bad. So
If there's any questions during or after, and like there'll be a time for questions at the end.
but anytime you have
yeah,
questions, just raise your
anytime.
hand. This is very interactive. I'm thinking about what you said.
This is me in the ICU.
On life
in a,
support.
on life support in a coma. So, and the doctor said she may not get better than today.
Every day.
Every day.
They thought she would remain in a vegetative state, which is after you come out of a coma and you're not aware of your environment at all. Your eyes are open, but you can't do anything. That's where they thought she was gonna stay, and they told us to find a nursing home to put her in there, and here she is. She's a miracle. So,
We are going to tell the TBI definition, the severity of a brain injury, statistics, and common problems that come with it.
oh my goodness, we already did that.
Yes.
Sorry.
When you woke up from the coma, was it how did you feel?
I couldn't talk, and
For over 2 months.
I woke up and I didn't know where I was, what was around me. I knew who people were. I don't really remember the hospital stay though.
She says she felt trapped in her body. She could understand what people were saying, but she couldn't talk
Yeah.
or communicate in any way.
Yes.
Were you driving?
I was driving. I had my permit and I was about 6 months away from getting my license, and they call an accident for a reason. We were coming out from a stop sign and neither of us saw the truck.
We're thinking that there was an 18-wheeler maybe turning right, and there was the 4x4 behind it because they were going 60 miles an hour. They didn't see us and we didn't see them.
And the only thing that happened to my face was I had one little shard of glass in my face, and then all my brakes and stuff. But
I had a coat in the
Yeah.
back seat of the car, and its sleeves were folded twice, and they were all filled with glass. But we feel like there was something in the car protecting us because we didn't get any outward damage. So interesting.
a definition of a TBI is a traumatic brain injury, an acquired injury to the brain caused by an external physical force, resulting in total or partial functional disability, or psychological and social impairment, or both. Adversely affects a person's educational performance. I got ADHD after,
You guys have heard of that, right? It affects your concentration.
so,
It gives people with brain injuries symptoms very much like that. You can get brain injuries in a lot of ways that I never knew of before we got a brain injury. Besides a blow to a head or in an accident, an illness or disease, an infected mosquito can cause a brain injury. A mouth infection, like a tooth infection, that can cause a brain injury. A sinus infection, alcohol and drug use, oxygen deprivation, like if somebody has a heart attack and they don't have enough oxygen going to their brain, that will cause a brain injury.
Or like if you're pregnant and the cord is wrapped around your baby's neck,
I don't know
That's-
anything about that.
that's also,
Oh, it can cause a brain
Yeah.
injury in the baby, definitely. Also, a tick that causes Lyme disease, that can also cause a brain injury. That one's a double.
statistics, every 23 seconds, one person in the US sustains an acquired brain injury. 1 in 500 students sustain an acquired brain injury each year in the US. 1 in 25 students will sustain an acquired brain injury before high school graduation. Overall, twice as many boys as girls. And your highest risk of getting one is 0 to 4 and 15 to 19. I was 15.
And we were just driving to Walmart. Yes.
Yes.
What happened? What happened to the guy that hit you guys?
They got a permanent bruise and $2,000.
Did they get in trouble? Or
No,
No, it
because
was
it was
my
our
fault.
fault. We were pulling out of the stop sign. So, yeah. There was something else I was gonna tell you. Oh, an acquired brain injury is, there's two kinds of brain injuries. They're both acquired. One is a traumatic brain injury and one is non-traumatic. Shearing and tearing of neurons, those are nerves in your brain. When an injury occurs, the neurons stretch, twist, or tear. When that happens, something called neuroplasticity can occur. It's where they make your neurons make new pathways to another part of your brain so that you can still function, but it makes you different because
So in many ways, I'm not the same person I was. And my sister has stated in the past, she goes, I miss my best friend. And it's like, I can't do anything about that, but I understand.
yeah, you're different.
Just like different likes, different dislikes, your favorite things, everything can change. Your taste of food, like I hated spicy food before and I love it now. I hated horror movies before and now it's my favorite genre. Just things like that.
Yes?
How was it? Like, what was like the difference in school? Like, was it?
How was the difference in
Like, how did it affect the school?
Well, I went back, I graduated on time with my original class, but I had to go half days the first semester I was back because I was so tired. I fractured my knee in aerobics because I wanted to prove to everybody I was the same, but I wasn't. I was a delicate flower. And
She was tired all the
Yeah.
time and she
and
had.
I never had homework. I had special classes. I needed extra help.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have any of you in here, did I already ask this?
Yes,
I already
think-
asked
I
if
think-
anybody, has anybody in here had brain injury?
Had a brain
A brain
injury.
injury? You have? Tell me about it.
Concussion?
Yes?
Yeah.
Is it from sports?
No, as a kid that ran into me in kindergarten.
Oh, did you lose consciousness?
I don't remember. It was like a
So
couple
long
years
ago.
Yeah.
Does anybody in here know anybody that has a brain injury? Maybe a family member? Yes.
My mom's got hit by a car and broke her skull and stabbed her brain.
Is she different now?
Yeah, she can't really walk,
How about, does she have a bad memory?
definitely.
Yeah. How does she deal with that? Does she write You don't know?
Sure.
Yeah, yes.
My brother got like knocked out when he like hit a tree when he was mountain biking. So
When
like he's fine now though. It was like he got like a pretty bad concussion.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was he in the hospital? No? Do you
He
know
was
if
like unconscious for like a couple minutes.
Oh,
But then he like,
Yeah. What about you?
My dad was at a golf course and somebody hit a ball and like hit the, I don't know, somebody, they were on a different tee box and they hit towards him and they didn't yell for it and it hit him like right in the head and it was like super close to like killing him and hitting his brain. But he's like, it didn't change him, like he's still the same, but for like 2 weeks after there was like, or probably a month, there was like just like panic about it and stuff. I think he was concussed for like the first part of it.
yeah.
Like, we'll talk about it. Symptoms for concussion usually last about,
They can last up to 3 months, but for some people, it's just a few days. And then there's something called post-concussive syndrome, and that makes the symptoms from your concussion last months and even years. And who had their hand up over here?
yes.
Oh, my friend's grandma has dementia.
Your friend's what?
Grandma has a dementia.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a brain injury, but
I think
Somebody
it's-
over here had their hand up.
No, we got him all.
But,
We got him.
okay.
A mild, moderate, severe. Injuries can range from mild, a brief change in mental functioning, to severe, extended period of unconsciousness, significant long-term disability. Full effects of brain injuries may not be apparent until later than when the person is expected to perform more advanced skills and to regulate their behavior. Like,
Sometimes, you'll go to the hospital when you get a concussion, and, well, they don't know you have had a concussion, everything looks normal. But then sometimes a few days or weeks or even months, symptoms start beginning.
and like, I've tried to drive 4 other times in the past, 3 or 4, and there's just something that doesn't connect. I mix up the gas and the brake, and that's not conducive. So,
so you can't drive it?
no.
can you drive?
I can drive, but my problem is I get lost really easily, and I'll be driving down the road, and that I've gone many times. This happened a mile from home, it's happened in our neighborhood around the block from our house. I'll look around and I won't recognize anything that I see. And if I panic, Veronica panics, but she usually has her
I have my
GPS.
Google Maps, so
Yes.
we're okay.
But sometimes I'll forget where I'm going, I'll forget why I'm going there, and I won't know where I am, so it's really scary.
Severity of brain injury, this one's mild, which is what mom has.
Nope, moderate.
Oh, okay. A brief or no loss of consciousness. Signs of concussion is nausea and vomiting, headache, fatigue, dizziness, poor recent memory. Unable to form new memories following the injury. Most times, new memories are accumulated within 1 hour after injury. So, like, your short-term memory is very bad. You won't have one.
Veronica's lost 3 months before the accident and 3 months after. And when someone would bring me my food in the morning, when I was in the hospital, I was there for 3 weeks. And someone would ask me, what'd you have for breakfast? I wouldn't know what I had, I didn't even know that I had eaten. And my memory was gone for about 7 weeks.
A moderate is coma less than 24 hours, and you're unable to form new memories following the injury for at least 24 hours. severe is a coma more than 24 hours, and you're unable to form new memories following the injury longer than 24 hours. So you're not able to form new memories, like even after a day, if that makes sense.
That's
Yes.
why she,
So like kinda like back to like the crash, was it like, did you guys like, were you guys like lose consciousness right when you got hit, or was it
I
like?
did, yeah.
Veronica was instantly put into a coma, and she, her blood pressure was 52/0 when the paramedics got there. And I lost consciousness, but when the paramedics got there, they woke me up. They just were like yelling my name, so.
This is me feeding myself, soft food for the first time.
Veronica had a feeding tube, and she started on thick liquids, honey thick liquids, and went to pudding and soft foods, and then that was the first time she fed herself, and she fed herself super fast. I thought it was because she wanted the food so much and that she missed eating, but the reason she did that is because she didn't have impulse control. She couldn't control what she was doing. Impulse control is where one lacks the ability to maintain self-control over emotions and desires.
Yes.
Or brain injuries passed on.
No.
No, it's funny because
In the hospital, I was like, if I have a baby, my baby's gonna be born stupid. Because I'm stupid now, but it's not something like that.
yeah, it doesn't
So-
pass on.
This is me walking in the hospital with my dad after, like 2.5 months, so. A mild, moderate, and severe brain injury. The vast majority of students with brain injuries returning to school have mild. So it was a miracle I went back to school and graduated on time.
Her principal, Veronica played in a lot of sports, so a lot of people knew her. And her principal called the school all the time and really
The
wanted to.
hospital.
What did I say? Oh, called the hospital, I'm sorry. And really wanted to see her graduate, and so she was in the special classes. You told so, yeah. She was also really popular, and the school had to call the hospital and tell,
Them to stop sending kids.
did I say the
Because-
school called the hospital? The hospital called the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and told them, what's wrong?
Gonna sneeze.
Oh, God bless you.
So, does anybody have questions thus far? No? Yes.
Yes.
So it's like the last thing you just said,
Sorry.
you were saying like the school had to tell like kids not to what?
Had
Oh,
to-
have the hospital called the school to ask them to have the kids not come to the hospital because there was so many children.
And the doctors couldn't get through
the
fast
hall.
enough.
Okay.
Yeah. And, there was one person that came to visit Veronica, and he said, why are you so tired all the time? All you do is lay around. And that wasn't true.
No, I had 6 hours,
Yeah?
yeah,
6
6
hours.
hours of therapy a day. And like you said, your brain heals when you sleep, so. Common,
Nope.
okay. Sensory and perceptual problems, a visual deficit, like tracking, moving, and stationary objects, like I trip up and down the stairs so much now. I didn't wear glasses before the accident, and so I have prisms in my glasses, which are made for
Double vision.
Yeah.
She has double vision
And-
still.
Spatial relationship. I stand way too close to people sometimes. People I don't even know.
But the spatial relationships is she can't tell what's really close or far away, so she trips over things a lot.
And diplopia is double vision, and neglect is lack of response to half a visual field. So like, I could draw a picture of somebody, but I'll only draw half because I don't see the other half. I'm not aware that it's even there. If I eat a plate of food, I can eat half of it, and I won't eat the other half until somebody comes, turns my plate, because I'm not like that, but.
She can't recognize,
Yes.
people like that don't recognize.
Can you see only half of me right now?
No, I
Oh, she
wasn't
doesn't
saying like
have that.
me.
Oh.
I'm sorry if that was confusing. Yeah, like, and if it was, I would only be able to see like half the class,
Oh.
but, yeah. Auditory deficits and tactile deficits. Tactile is like, so when my, left side was paralyzed, all the nerves changed, and at first, I couldn't feel anything, so it was really hot. Like if I tested my shower water, it'd be really hot, and I couldn't feel it with my left side, so I always have to check with my right side. And if somebody, I thought you just said this, and then if somebody hits me on my left side, now it's like really sensitive, so.
And auditory deficits, a lot of people are startled by loud noises, but, I have that, when things are really, really loud, I get anxiety and sometimes I start crying. I don't like a lot of noise, and also I get overwhelmed by a lot of noise and overstimulated. Yes.
Alright, so like I have a question for Andrew. So if you're going to like a market or something to get like groceries, is it like whenever it's super loud, is it kind of hard to like shop?
Like
Yes,
mom
it's
had to
very-
stop going to our gym.
There was too much noise, the music was loud, you could hear the clinking from the weights. And when I looked around, there was a lot of movement, and so I would have to spend a while alone in my bedroom with no TV on, no noise. It was really overwhelming, and that happens in the store. But I have to tell you something else that happens in the store. Veronica is very smell sensitive, so she goes like this in a grocery store.
And they'll be like,
Oh, you smell delicious. She's a little bit inappropriate.
if I
Next
smell,
thing, she'll
might
look at their
smell-
hand, see if they're married, she'll start flirting with them. That's something she does now that she has a brain injury.
you know, that's the whole YOLO thing, right? Like, I might die tomorrow, I might die going home, so gotta get it out, and, yeah.
And then do you like, so does it, if you get like, is it more sensitive whenever you get like hit right here than over here? Or-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why do you know if it was like?
That's okay. Ask anything you
but
want.
like, that's why, so I had to like prove to myself that I was still tough, so I got a whole sleeve on my left side.
Of tattoos.
Yeah, so, but I am tough, don't worry.
Also, for auditory deficits, you might hear things that aren't really there. You can get mental illness from a brain injury. Some people can get schizophrenia, and I had bipolar disorder before my injury, but it's been made worse after. And Veronica
And
has
I have bipolar, like, symptoms, like mood, it's a mood disorder, but I
with
take
high
my,
highs
yeah.
and low lows. You might be like super energetic. Have you guys heard of bipolar disorder? Yeah. I'm gonna do this one. Cognitive or thinking communication problems. Executive functions is what, controls your brain. The mental processes that enable us to plan, focus attention, remember instructions, and juggle multiple tasks successfully. Veronica had a badly bruised frontal lobe, and her executive functions were affected, so she doesn't do a lot of those things very easily. Her memory both of our memories have been affected. For me, I write myself a lot of notes. I hang them on the microwave, I have them on the counter, I have them in a date book. Otherwise, I don't have a very productive day, cause I can't remember things I'm supposed to do. Did you raise your hand?
Me?
Yeah, no, okay. Attention, concentration, information processing. My husband will, say something and I only get the first couple words and the rest just sounds like blah, 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 because I don't process quickly. And so I'll have to ask him to repeat himself and he thinks that I'm not listening, but it's not because I can't hear him or I'm not listening, it's because I can't process, yes.
Like, you know, I said you like went to the gym and stuff?
Yes.
What type of workouts that you have to do?
Oh, I didn't have to, in the beginning, we had physical therapy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we had
Is
to
that what
do,
you
Well,
we did have,
we had physical therapy in the hospital, and then I had outpatient therapy for 2 years after.
you told him everything that was broken in your
Yes.
body? Okay, I had, 9 staples in my head and 6 breaks in my pelvis, so I had, and also because of my bad memory, I had occupational therapy and they tried to teach me to like turn off the burners on the stove and things like that, and I still have trouble with that. I have a note above my stove that says turn off burners, turn off stove. Yes,
Do you guys have any like permanent like, what's it called, like,
deficits?
or like whenever you have, some people have like surgery, they like have to like screw, like put
No,
screws.
no. Veronica has scars. She had,
I had a trach, I had a beam tube, I was on life support,
she has
exploratory surgery, so they went from my belly button up to my sternum.
her stomach was super puffed up after we got hit. We don't know if air was pushed down or what it was, but when they got her open, she didn't have any blood in there or anything, so she was okay.
So there's like no internal bleeding.
No.
Right, that's right. Information processing, sequencing. Veronica doesn't know if something happened this morning, or yesterday, or a week ago, or a month ago. So I can never ask her when did something happen, cause she has no idea. Things that happened this morning, she thinks happened at another time.
Problem.
It's called dyschronometria, distorted time perception.
Problem solving, word retrieval, expressive language organization. So like problem solving, like when I first got out of the hospital and I had double vision, I had to get my first pair of glasses and I got hairspray on them and I thought, well, how do you get them off? A soft side of a file would work perfect. So I did that and I scratched them all up and my dad was very mad and
It's
So-
really hard, your decision-making skills are affected when you.
I don't see consequences,
Right,
so.
yes,
So with like your memory, so do you remember, so like if you, so like something you do in the morning, do you remember like that what you did a couple days later?
Yes.
not always. You don't always either.
My neuropsychologist called it Swiss cheese brain. I have holes in my memory, so it looks like Swiss cheese.
And what happens when you have that is something called confabulation. Have you guys ever heard of that?
You make up stories to fill the blanks. So I'm not lying, I'm confabulating.
Jonathan.
But I don't do it all the time.
Let's see, word retrieval, that's when I already got it, I know. Expressive language organization is when you say your words in the wrong order. Social emotional problems. Oops, sorry. Irritability. Veronica and I, we call it going from white to red, where you're very calm and something happens, and then you get angry like within 2 seconds, but like seeing red angry, super angry.
Like
I'm-
shaking, and
face
the
is
only
red.
way that I can express it, or was hitting somebody or something, but, so I'm on medicine now and.
It helps
So-
a lot. Our family's very glad for that. I have, anger outbursts without the medicine. And Okay, impulsivity, telling us, okay, Veronica is very impulsive, not as much as she was, but we can be in church and she will see somebody that's attractive to her and she'll say really loud, that guy over there is so
No.
cute. So,
I used to do it, I don't do it as much now, but yeah.
disinhibition, inability to withhold an inappropriate or unwanted behavior. Okay. Perseveration, that's where you get stuck on one topic or idea and you keep talking about it over and over, and it's not on purpose.
I annoy my family sometimes so bad because I perseverate, but it's not my fault.
Emotional lability, that's where you,
Your moods go from,
really high,
Yeah.
really low. Insensitivity to social cues. So, I don't know if you guys know about this, but say someone's talking to you and they're trying to get away, so they're backing up, and you keep walking toward them and trying to talk to them, and they're trying to get away, that's, you're not recognizing the social cue that they're trying to stop the conversation. Low frustration tolerance, anxiety, withdrawal, okay, after
this
the
one.
insensitivity to social cues, I just did that.
Oh, sorry. Anxiety,
I lost my train of thought, I'm so sorry.
anxiety, withdrawal.
Oh, okay, withdrawal. Veronica, this is normal for a brain injury. She became extremely sexual after her injury, and she would talk about it all the time, and it made people feel uncomfortable. Or we have a lack of filter. Do you guys know what that is? Where you think, oh, some people say, I shouldn't say that, and they don't say it. But when you have a brain injury, it just comes out like word vomit. And, because
We lost all of our friends.
yeah, we lost all of our friends, and when someone knows that they're socially awkward, they tend to withdraw and not wanna be around people. And there's a lot of people that have brain injuries, they withdraw because they're not comfortable in a crowd anymore, and they just stay home.
Egocentricity, like this whole thing is about me and me alone. Well, not just me, but like, if you're egocentric, you make everything about yourself, always, and people your age usually do that, so.
How old are you guys, 14, 15?
I keep it asked like 3 times.
I have?
Yeah.
No, I didn't ask you that already,
14,
did I?
right?
15. I asked the other class. Denial of deficit and lack of insight. That's not recognizing that anything is different. Like, we have all these deficits now and things that are different and that we can't do anymore. But for like the first 3 years, I didn't recognize that I was even injured. And for about the first 11 years, Veronica knew that something was different, but she didn't admit to herself that anything was wrong.
Yes.
It's called anosognosia, yes.
So with like the brain injury, did you ever like whenever you like were riding, before your brain injury was you were riding with your dominant hand, but after did you start riding with your left? Or
That is heard of, but I never did it.
But her
I'm more
writing,
ambidextrous now, but
and her writing is so much neater than it used to be. A lot of people that have brain injuries, they become depressed. For one, the chemicals in their brain aren't always the same as they used to be when they weren't depressed. And also, when you figure out all the things that you can't do anymore, it's really upsetting, and a lot of people get depressed from it. Peer conflict. You can have peer conflict because of what I was talking about. Veronica became very sexual.
yes,
Sorry. Okay.
sexuality concerns. You do things, you sleep with a lot of people, you become very, and high risk behavior, you become very, risky in that, like,
You might not use birth control. Also, another risky behavior, drinking and driving. You just more easily do things that are high risk. But also, another sexuality concern is that some people that, depending on where their brains were injured, they end up not liking sex at all. They don't have any of those feelings anymore.
Behavioral problems is deficits of all types may lead to challenging behaviors. Non-compliance, like you don't wanna listen to any rules. Aggression, you become very angry. Confrontational behavior where you just wanna fight all the time. A lack of initiative where that's like what I had. You are very unmotivated and withdrawal.
The lack of initiative and motivation is called anhedonia, and people think you're lazy because all you wanna do is lay around, but it's really a problem from your brain injury, not because you want to be that way. Something that happens a lot of times is, brain injured people go through a period of time where they don't wanna bathe, they don't wanna brush their teeth, they don't wanna eat, and, so, that's what they do.
Yes.
Do you, like, is it easier to sleep? Like, or like, do you wanna, like, I just not do, like, is it harder to sleep or is it easier?
We slept for probably 18 hours a day for the first year after the
Yeah,
accident.
but now like,
We still take naps almost
Yeah.
every day.
so, I mean, sleeping is sleeping.
What I was gonna tell you is, when you have the lack of initiative and motivation, it's really hard to find a passion because you'll become interested in something. And we've done this before. We've gotten Veronica enrolled in college. We've done a lot of different things and spent money on things, and then all of a sudden, within a day, Veronica will say, I don't wanna do that anymore. So it makes it really hard to find a passion.
And this is me on my 16th birthday walking out of the hospital, and these are all the people that took care of me.
In the ICU and on the rehab floor. And only one doctor said that Veronica would walk out of the hospital after 3 months. He said, I'll bet you a Coke. So when we left the hospital, we went to his office and we brought him a Coke. But being able to do things physically after a brain injury is not, it doesn't have anything to do with how you think. Veronica was super slow for a really long time, and it's, a lot of people with brain injuries are considered dumb, and it's not that you're dumb, it's not,
Because your processing skills are
a lot of times
lacking.
really slower. Okay.
and
Okay, couple things. Do you guys wear a helmet on a bike or a skateboard? You do? That's so awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. Anybody else? No? You're invincible? You know, if you take an egg and slam it on the ground, that's your brain. It's very, very delicate. You don't think so when you're 14 and 15, but it is. Have you ever heard of car surfing? Yeah, has
Been
anybody?
there, done that.
You have?
No.
Oh, has anybody in here actually car surfed?
So where you drive a car?
Where you, somebody gets on your car
I've sat on.
or your truck
Oh.
and they drive while you balance?
we knew somebody who did that, and she fell off.
She got a super bad brain injury, and you often lose all your friends after a brain injury because you're really different than you used to be, and sometimes really crude. A lot of people that get brain injuries cuss a lot. Our favorite word was the F-bomb for a very long time after the accident. And there's a reason I was telling you. Oh, Veronica even was friends with the girl that fell off the truck when she was car surfing. But at the age of probably 14, 15, she said, I don't wanna be friends with her
No,
anymore.
I was younger, I was
Were
like
you?
13.
Okay, but at any rate, Veronica did not wanna be friends with her because she was different and she was slow. And then we soon found out, when Veronica was 15, that you do become different and people react
It's-
different ways.
I
Yeah.
think it's like a big, reality check, you know, things happen to everybody. It was that morning, I was taking notes in my chemistry class and I was talking to my teacher about a girl who died in a car accident exactly just like mine, one street prior to where mine was. And he said, "You're in her seat." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Her old seat, you're in it." And I said, "Watch, now I'll get in an accident. It'll be just my luck."
And it happened.
And then it happened. He was like the first teacher at the hospital.
And he doesn't have a seat in that place, in his classroom anymore. And another weird thing that happened is I was working at a prosthodontic office and I wasn't doing super well and I didn't understand the
Lingo.
verbiage, the lingo, and I asked, my boss let me borrow a book so I can become familiar, and I said, "What if you don't get it back?" Who asks that? It was in the back of the car. So, yeah, weird things happened. Okay, pseudobulbar affect. Veronica has this. It's where you laugh or cry inappropriately. Sometimes you, if you have a brain injury, you might go to a funeral and bust out laughing. It's like your emotions are backwards. Or you'll be really, really happy, but you'll be crying. So Veronica's on medicine for that. And I know at 14 and 15 years old, it's really hard to have compassion for other people and empathy. It's hard to put yourself in their place. If you see somebody and they're behaving weird or inappropriately, like they're yelling out cuss words or they speak in a way that's very unfiltered or inappropriate, please don't ignore them. You don't know their story, you don't know where they came from, you don't know what's happened to them, and anything that they've gone through, you perhaps may go through. How many people are in this class? Do you know? 25?
So
1 out of 25 people may be brain injured before graduation, and look how many people in here. No, you guys didn't have a bunch of concussions.
No.
Only one person?
So Mom wrote a book about our journey, and it tells all the raw and real and
I
everything.
put up a blog, a new one every Friday, and it
that's
talks
on-
about our lives,
That's on her website.
and it talks about educational things, situations that happen.
And if anybody has any like personal questions or anything that you're embarrassed, this is her email and this is my TikTok. I post my journey on my TikTok, so.
Yeah. We're, gonna show you a little bit of a video that was taken in the hospital when Veronica was in, so you can get an idea of where she came from to where she is now. The other one has to come.
Yeah, that one has to come out.
Where did you guys live here? Or was it somewhere else?
Yeah, no, it was here. My dad is military, was active duty, and so we lived down south, like in Widefield security area. And, we were driving like 5 miles to Walmart from Colorado Center on Bradley, and I was about to turn on the powers. And there wasn't a light there yet, just a stop sign, and I guess I didn't see it, Mom didn't see it, that's why the accident.
Okay. I'm gonna skip through this a little, it's only the second time I've showed the video and I don't know
But
exactly.
play this part. 'Cause,
Okay,
yeah,
but this is actually at the end, and it came up on the beginning.
just, it's fine.
That's fine, okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be loud.
Alright, pull yourself up. Now sit up a little bit. Sit up just a little bit. See what's going on? There you go. Okay?
With brain injuries, when you're healing, you might have one step forward and the next day, 10 steps back. She might be able to lift herself up on his arm that day, and then the next day, not be able to do anything.
And if you watch how slow I blink, that's my brain processing things.
How long after the crash was this video taken?
This was like a month.
Oh.
But I'm gonna move forward.
I was still in the hospital.
Okay. That's our friend with Veronica. I have the dark hair, you would never recognize me. And her arm was stuck up to her chest, and the therapist would put casts on it all the time to try and bring it down, so she could use it. Some people are afraid to, some people are afraid when their loved one is in the hospital to show them affection. They're afraid that they're gonna break the person. But I laid in bed with Veronica every single day, even with 6 breaks in my pelvis, the whole time she was in the hospital. We wanted her to keep her dignity. We plucked her
Dad
eyebrows.
shaved my legs, like,
Yeah, we put nail polish on her, even when she
I got a
didn't notice.
pedicure one day from a friend.
So I'm gonna move it along a little bit. There I am, trying to get Veronica to kiss me.
You can see like how slow I'm blinking.
It's devastating to have your child in this condition. I want you to remember when you're not wearing a helmet, doing things where you should be wearing a helmet, or drinking and driving, or whatever you're doing, you could easily be in this condition. In the morning, Veronica was fine. She was like any other teenager. And that afternoon, her life changed forever.
I was talking to my chemistry teacher, and he said, we were talking about an accident that happened 1 year earlier, 1 street prior. And he said, you're in her old seat. And I said, watch, now I'll get in an accident. It'll happen to me. It'll be just my luck.
Yep. Now, one of the reasons why we come and teach and are advocates of brain injury awareness is because no matter what you guys do as adults, you can look back if you learn about somebody that has a brain injury and say, you know what, I heard about that before. There's doctors that don't know anything about brain injuries. A lot of people don't. They're so common, but very few people know about them. I want to show Dad doing it. Okay.
Monica, smile again. Smile again. That's all for the camera.
Did you already do
Come on.
Sorry about it, so loud.
That was beautiful. What color?
Oh, Monica.
Are you sure?
Is that color you got now? Red? Can we give her the hearts on there? Hearts.
Rain for St. Patrick's Day.
I'm trying to find, Veronica's trying to.
Do you remember this?
No.
Do you ever feel like, did you ever like start remembering and it felt like you were trying to talk, but like,
Oh, I remember being in the hospital and saying that, like, answering people in my head. And I was so mad that they didn't know what I was saying. So the rehab nurses and stuff, they would use cards, like yes, no cards, and it would just took so long for me to answer, but I did. It was very frustrating. I don't remember, but I have like snippets in my head of this time. And that was my ex-boyfriend, and we stayed together for a year after.
But Veronica became violent. Every time she would get really angry, she would hit him. So they had to break up because she was being very
Violent.
Yeah, very violent. This is a good day, but you'll see the next day she can't do anything.
Are you gonna talk? Good girl. Good girl.
And he holds it so close because I can't see.
Atta girl. Love you too. That's it. Love you too, honey. Okay. Right.
What time is it?
See, he was pampering me. And I had, an infection called C. diff. It's a poop disease. And
Infection, yeah,
yeah.
it's very,
contagious, and that's why he's wearing the gloves.
what? Veronica had something called C. diff. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's, in your colon, some kind of infection, and it's extremely contagious. And we were supposed to wear a gown and gloves, and my husband wore gloves, but we wanted to be near our daughter, and really that was dangerous.
Mom still got in bed with me, like, that was not.
Actually, it was very dangerous what we did, because we could have spread it.
Did
that
you
way.
get it?
No, didn't get it.
So fast forward a little.
Yep.
Keep going. That's Grandpa. He would tell me stories.
Oh, plucking Veronica's eyebrows.
It's a life, look at it, I have somebody combing, got somebody dressing.
Veronica got a soft spot from laying in the same position all the time, so her head had to be moved around a lot. Kind of like a bed sore, but on her scalp. And that's me, if you can believe it. 15 years does a lot.
So I got a pedicure in the hospital from our neighbor. I got my hair cut towards the end because it grew like
3 inches.
3 inches. I grew height 3 inches. So
Let me cut it. I'm gonna cut your hair, Veronica.
You brought it?
Okay, I wanna show you if I can find it. My husband, here we
Right
go.
there.
Okay, this is funny.
You're not gonna need a band, you'll hide it though.
Today is primping day. We have plucked eyebrows, we have brushed hair and gotten store-bought clothes, no more scrubs. And now Daddy is taking the honor paving Veronica's way, because she is a very well cared for girl. She's always taking good care of herself. So
Okay.
now when she is unable to, we will help her.
Okay.
Okay, so, God forbid any of you ever have a child that is in the hospital in a condition like this. Cut their nails, do things that they would do for
Like,
themselves.
give them
if they
grace,
were
give them
conscious.
dignity.
Yeah, respect and dignity, that's what's important. All done,
Okay.
that's all of it.
Any questions?
No questions at all?
What? Yes.
Did anyone have the crash on footage? Like, was anyone there that, like, filmed
I
it?
don't think so.
I didn't
No.
hear 'em.
Anybody had the crash on footage.
Oh, no.
Or, like,
I hope not. We had a neighbor that went past the accident site with her kids in her van, and she had them look away because she said nobody could have lived through that crash, but we did. So,
They had to use the jaws of life to get us out, and all 4 doors just fell off.
yes.
What was your like how many people did you work with?
How many what?
Like how many doctors were helping you?
Oh.
She had one main doctor and an occupational therapist, a speech therapist,
A
a
physical
physical
therapist.
therapist.
I
But
had,
in the ICU, she had a lot, and that's what the last picture was when she was walking down the hall. All the people that worked on her and knew her were lining the halls to
Because
see her.
the nurses loved me so much because I was such a ham that they would bring me out during mealtime to sit next to the nurses station, and I could like see activity,
And if she
and they
could,
would talk to me.
when she couldn't talk, she would bam,
I would
bam,
slam the side
bam
of
on
it.
the counter, cause she was trying to communicate, she didn't have any other way. Yes.
why didn't they do the flight for life instead of an ambulance?
It was
Like,
too windy.
Oh, that's
They
a good
tried.
question.
cause like if it was like the ambulance and like all the bumps,
They wanted to, but it was so windy and, the ambulance got there first, so, yes.
Yes.
What was it like when you got home, like after the hospital?
Um,
I had to use a shower chair. I wasn't